I am here with Peter Hobler with the X Factor. And today we're going to focus on vulnerability. Peter, my question is vulnerability a strength or a weakness? You're on.
Thank you, Keith. Great to be here with you. And I think it's such a great question, especially in the realm of divorce. And I remember going through my divorce, how totally consumed with fear I was that the ex was going to take my daughter away, try and take all my money, and then after the divorce, not let me see our daughter, who was 3 years old at the time. And I found myself consumed with anger, frustration, resentment, and this was causing a lot of anxiety for me. And it was leading how I made choices, how I constantly was reacting to the ex. And all this was impacting my daughter. So I realized things were not the way I wanted. And I started wondering how things could change. And I found myself honing in. It's like, wow, the ex has to change. And I realized right then and there that no, I had to change. So I started opening up. I started connecting to my feelings and emotions, which is really, that's really what vulnerability is all about. And it begins inside of you right here. So vulnerability is all about being connected to your feelings, to your emotions, and then opening up to those. So you're in touch with your feelings and emotions and opening your heart, your mind, even in a sense, your soul. You don't have to share this with just anybody. Sometimes maybe just being aware and connected to yourself, being vulnerable within to yourself is huge. But I've believed for a long time that most men, so this would relate to dads of divorce, think vulnerability is a weakness. So they put up walls, they're strong, they like to believe they can handle everything on their own. But when you've never traveled down the road of divorce before, you probably have no idea how to change things so it goes forward in a more calm, compassionate manner where you and the ex can hopefully at least work together to co-parent the kids. So vulnerability, when you're open, makes you more relatable for one. Even with yourself, let go of the walls. And when you let go of that huge egotistical part of yourself that so many of us as men have, you can start to get more clarity on what you really want. And for me, that clarity was that I wanted to create an environment of divorce where my child, my daughter, was thriving, even if the ex refused to work together to co parent. And yes, it takes two to tango, but it only takes one to make a positive difference. So, dads, listen up. Open up your minds, your hearts, and your souls for the sake of your children. Being vulnerable is one of the greatest strengths on the planet. And there are times and instances when, yes, you can share things with the ex. For me, I remember we started to get in another argument, and she was very angry, and I was sitting there remaining calm. She said, what are you being so smug about? And I simply and calmly said, I have realized our daughter is far too important to me for me to allow myself to continue to react to you. So I'm going to do whatever I can to remain calm and do what's best for our child. And over the next few months, Keith, the dynamics between us started to shift for the better. And as a parent, everything we say and do teaches and impacts our kids. And I've said this before, but it is so true. So what do you want to teach your children? And how do you want to impact them via your own example? It takes vulnerability to begin to create a shift, to have the awareness that things are not the way you want, and to figure out what it is you really want for the sake of your kids, to gain that clarity, and then to create a shift. So
I
really,
like
in essence, it all begins with vulnerability, one of the greatest strengths on the planet. So from my heart to yours, dads, be strong, be willing to go down the path with heartfelt vulnerability. It's more than okay. It will create a positive, much more beneficial difference for your children.
I'm guessing you've got a specific call to action that you want this one man who's listening to you right here, right now. What do you want him to do?
I appreciate that reminder, Keith. So the call to action is to think of one small way you can open up, just for yourself, for starters, Dad. How you can be vulnerable. What's one way you've contributed to the problem situation that's going on, whether in the home, whether you're leading up to divorce or already divorced? Take responsibility for your role, and then think of one small shift you can create that will have a much more positive and beneficial impact on and for your children. That's the starting point. That's the challenge and call to action, dads. Thank
Very
you,
good.
Keith. Always love being
Thank you,
here with
Peter. I look forward to next week and your next weekly insight. Thank you very much.
you. I do as well. Thanks. See you next week, everybody.
Bye-bye.